Welcome back to another session. It's looking like it's going to be a great one today. We are, talking the world of fintech. That is a world that is near and dear to me. And for today specifically, we're going to be talking, a lot of very long-sounding words like tokenization, but but I'm just hoping that through this conversation, we're going to be able to learn a little bit about what some of those issues are. Like I said. Long words like tokenization, decentralized finance, all of that. And to help us to make sense of it all, we are joined by Percy Maphologela, who is an entrepreneur, in this particular space. And we're just going to be having that discussion. Percy, greetings to you.
I'm happy to be here, to be talking about big words, You don't get, a lot of people tend to not understand, the terms or
Yeah.
what you're doing. So it's nice to be having a conversation with someone, who's eager to learn about the space and, actually taking out content that is, I'd say amazing, eh?
All right. So before we begin, I'm just gonna ask you, maybe not a controversial question, but do you consider yourself a crypto bro? And all the connotations that come with it.
Am I a crypto bro?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say I wouldn't say I'm in love with crypto, but I'm in love with how the power of blockchain technology,
Yeah.
So I'm more fascinated by the technology behind the crypto and the capabilities of the technology. So definitely a crypto bro, but leaning more towards blockchain space and the Web3 space.
Okay, cool. So, in just doing a little bit of my research before this session, you are in the world of investments, but sort of using crypto as a way to give people an entry point
Yeah.
into the world of investment. I believe that there's an element of taking real world assets and bundling those, tokenizing those,
Yeah.
and allowing people to buy pieces of real world businesses, through blockchain technologies, right?
Yeah.
That's my understanding. Firstly, two questions. Maybe you could give us the elevator pitch on the business itself and whether, secondly, I've gotten the understanding correct or not.
So I'm founder and CEO of EquiXToken Capital. So what we do is that we use blockchain technology to basically fractionalize real world assets and digitalize them. So essentially what we are doing is that we are solving four different problems, right? We are basically reducing costs when transferring a real world asset. We're also basically solving the problem that we have with real world assets such as illiquidity, and as well as we are making investments far much more accessible. So we essentially do this by digitalizing real world assets, turning a real world asset such as real estate into different fractions, whether it can be 100 or 1,000. Then we allow that to be a store of value.
Yeah.
And that being a store of value is like having a percentage of a title deed in your own pocket. So now people who don't have that much capital to invest in real world assets to buy a full apartment building or a commercial building, what we do is that you can now invest with just as little as 10 Rand. So you can have a store of value, a title deed to a specific apartment
Yeah.
that is worth 10 Rand. And then you're able to basically earn dividends off just that investment that you have. What we are also doing is that we are also eliminating a lot of the intermediaries, such as your brokers, your custodians, your lawyers, and your central systems. This allows us to return the full value of the asset back into it. So normally, as an investor, as an asset owner, you lose quite a lot of money while transferring that asset or while exiting your investment. So this then allows you to then essentially have a peer-to-peer interaction through our marketplace where you can trade an asset between two people and avoid going through the many custodians and taking months to transfer an asset. Meaning that all that money that you would have spent going through all the intermediaries is then returned back into the asset, and you've got the full value of the asset.
Okay, cool. That makes that makes sense from that point of view, because one of the things I was gonna ask is, how are you guys different from other people that are offering some element of fractional ownership?
Yeah.
In the South African context, you have certain companies like the Purple Group and their Easy Equities platform that has taken the idea of fractional ownership of shares and
Yeah.
given it to people. And we've also seen others taking the concept of saying, hey, you can own a part of a business or a part of a building in the real world.
Yeah.
And I guess all of the friction reduction that you guys have
Yeah.
been able to do maybe takes out some of the frustration from people, but I guess that's how you guys differentiate yourselves.
So definitely. So what we plan to do is we are fully decentralized, right?
Yeah.
So meaning what we do is that we use smart contracts. So smart contracts is basically like a programmable contract, and we essentially are building it on the safest blockchain, right?
Which is
My competition will be like, we're
okay,
ready
okay.
for you,
All right.
which is essentially also the transaction fees on that blockchain are quite low. So this allows us, as well as when we are offering our services to our customers, to essentially charge very, very, very low fees just to digitalize it as well as transacting it, right? So essentially what sets us differently is that we are essentially bringing ownership to the people. We are not the custodians of the actual asset. So thus meaning that when you at 2 a.m. in the middle of the night are in need of money, you don't necessarily have to, panic, and you can literally find someone who was already there ready to buy as an investor, or someone who just wants to own that specific asset. So thus allows you to basically go back to how it was back in the day, when trade started back in the day. Somebody actually brought gold into the picture, and someone brought silver, and people exchanged between two individuals, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we are doing. But now we are doing this in a decentralized manner. We are doing it over mobile, over a web application, where you can connect with a buyer at any given time, because we also have a marketplace. This allows us to also even bring out solutions such as decentralized lending and decentralized borrowing, where you are essentially able to actually hold that specific asset in an escrow in our marketplace, and then through our liquidity pool, you are able to basically get the funds, and once you start making profit, you are able to buy back that specific asset. So that's also another thing that sets us differently, is that you don't necessarily have to sell your asset off, and hoping that that specific buyer will sell it back to you. We are able to do this through smart contracts, hold it there, and it's programmed that once you're paying it back, you're able to receive your asset back.
Nice. The keen to then understand, because we've gotten into quite a lot of complexity around decentralized finance,
Yeah.
the tokenization aspect, using a blockchain, using smart contracts as a way to keep accountability in the chain, and perhaps as a tool for handling the admin aspects as well.
Yeah.
I guess automating parts of the admin, because in a normal case, you'd have people that are
Yeah.
checking, is this person paying, not paying, and
Yeah.
then being able to do that. But here you're making use of smart contracts, to do, all of that. What made you get into all of this complexity that we're talking about right now?
So I'll try to keep it short.
Because you're also quite young.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
quite young.
Yeah.
I was in supply chain. I was doing a lot of contracting and tenders for a logistics company. And I found that there were a lot of inefficiencies in the system, right? And being someone who essentially wants to solve problems and make life easier for themselves, and make work easier, I sought out to find a solution to solve this. And I came across tech, and as I went down the rabbit hole of tech, I came across blockchain technology. So looking at it, I was like, wow, the capabilities are a lot. There were a lot of capabilities, and there was a problem that resonated with myself, something that, was dear to my heart, and a problem that I encountered, or should I say my mom encountered, right? So in 2016, my grandmother passed away, and on the will was my mom's name, right? And later, when my mom wanted to transfer that asset into her name to basically turn it into a business and start generating cash flow from that specific asset, she had to pay like 200,000 Rand of transfer costs. And she didn't have this money, right? And, looking at, like I said, going down that rabbit hole of blockchain technology, I saw that blockchain technology could essentially just solve this. But this wasn't a problem that my mom had alone, but it was a problem that other asset owners had, as well as investors had. And from there on, it was, I left my job and I decided to go down this route. It's been a year and a half now, and I would say that we are doing well for ourselves.
What does doing well for yourselves mean?
Considering that I'm very, very young, right? And it's very difficult to start, a tech company, in this day and age. Um, over the last few months, we have been able to be one of the 23 companies in the ALX Ventures Accelerator program. Our company has been selected as one of the top 7 finalists for Africa Tech Week, which essentially goes around solving Africa's biggest problems. So, to have your company out there, as well as to have partnerships such as Google Cloud. We've got Google Cloud who are on board. We are part of the Web3 ecosystem. We are also in partnership with a global law firm. So considering the time that the company had started and where we are sitting right now, being recognized throughout Africa, I think essentially we find ourselves in a position where we are doing well. Not only that, we have recently been nominated for the Global Startups FinTech Company of the Year award. So I think we're doing well.
So at this point, when you look at where you are in your journey, right? Obviously, there's been a lot of progress along the way, and
Yeah.
you've been able to, I guess, win over some of these partnerships. Get the likes of, like you said, the international law firm, the likes of Google, and then when you spoke about ALX just now,
Yeah.
we're talking about the EdTech platform, right? ALX, yes, yeah, all that. Africa Tech Week. I've actually been there for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
That's like you said, those are a lot of great milestones, a lot of great, aspects, right? The other piece is from an operational point of view. Where are you in that journey? Are you guys revenue generating yet? How big is the team? Anything you can share from that point of view.
So from an operational perspective, essentially I started the company alone. Went through a few months of, trying to work things out, navigate the system. But like they say, it takes a community to build, a great product or, to build a great company. Currently, right now, I have a team of 12 individuals.
Nice.
From different aspects: investment management, compliance, business development, data analysts. Not only that, as well as software developers, not only that, we've also got a board of advisors, right? So we've got Kevin from MasterCard, who essentially deals with partnerships, inclusion, fintech, mobile money. We also have the head of product who sits on our board of advisors from the biggest bank in Latin America. So, in terms of operational, we built out our product ready. Our product was ready, but we had to go through a lot of security measures that we needed to go through a lot of penetration testing and so on. And we realized that, there was a lot of vulnerabilities. So currently, right now, we are set to launch at Africa Blockchain Week. We've got a huge community around the product, 65,000 plus individuals all across Africa,
Yeah.
ready to take on this product, ready to start investing and using this product. I think that about sums up, our operational aspect, unless there's something more to it.
Just one more piece. At launch, right, what will a person be able to do? Let's say Mudiwa decides that I'm going to join the 65,000.
Yeah.
And at launch, I'm like, okay, fine, I'm ready to take up the product, right?
Yeah.
What is Mudiwa able to do on the platform on day one?
So from the moment the platform is essentially launched, you will be able to invest in a variety of real estate ranging from commercial buildings, apartments, residential, as well as, office spaces and so on. So you will be able to have ownership of those assets through our platform. Not only that, you will be able to access deals, investment deals that are fairly new to the market, such as real estate development projects that are up and coming that could generate yield of 14 to 25% return annually.
Nice.
This also within our platform, we also have the marketplace. Like I said, you will be able to trade your asset for another asset at any given time. With anybody who has been obviously KYC'd. This ensures that we are building out a platform, or from a regulatory perspective, that we're ensuring that you as an investor are safe and your investments are always never lost or never hacked.
Nice. One of the things that is quite apparent is the fact that you've done a lot in a very short space of time. And you've also been able to, grow out, the team, partnerships, that type of thing. For someone else who's perhaps where you were, 2 years ago, or at the point at which you decided, to start this, what's been the learning? What's the advice, for people that are coming after you?
You never know it all.
I think we all have to be comfortable with that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing for me through this journey was leveraging off a community, or leveraging off people who have walked the walk. Learning from people's mistakes. Essentially, there's a saying that says, while going through this journey, you go through a period of loneliness, right? And this loneliness is because you are transitioning from a part in your life that you had friends or you had colleagues that you are outgrowing, but you're not yet sufficient, or you're not the person to be friends with the people in the space that you'd like to see yourself in.
Deep.
And during that lonely time, it's a very, very difficult time, but each individual needs to understand they need to go through that specific time to essentially become the person that they want to become, or to build out a solution that is revolutionary or that could change the world. So during that time, what I found best to get through it was leveraging off, people that have walked the walk, and essentially saying, I'm not equipped to be in this room, but who is in that room that I can get in contact with, that I can find out information about, that further prepares you for, when you're essentially the person, or your company is the company you believe should be in those specific spaces. So definitely I would say leveraging off your community, leveraging off peers and, professionals, because ultimately if you don't go out there and you don't ask, or you don't do your research, you won't get into that room. So essentially asking people, listen, this is what I want to do and this is where I want to go. How do I get there? Another thing is reading books. I know it sounds very cliche, we're talking about people who write books about 20 years of their life,
Yeah.
and they
Condensed,
compact it
yeah.
into a book that you can read within 3 months. You're able to see the mistakes that that person did and allows you to further propel you as an individual to not make the same mistakes and not take 20 years to get to where you want to be, but rather take 6 months. So yeah.
What's a good book that you can recommend?
Think and Grow Rich.
Nice. Napoleon Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another book I'm currently reading is How I Built This.
Bye.
I think it's Guy Ries, something like that. So he's interviewed a few entrepreneurs who have built big companies
Yeah.
and how they essentially built those companies. But then the nice thing about the book, he puts it in different topics. So within one topic, you're not learning about one entrepreneur's journey, but you're learning about different people's entrepreneurship journey. Yeah.
Very nice. And I like the fact that, that reading aspect is very important. And from the point that you're talking about just now, about what steps do you need to become that person
Yeah.
that you want to be in future? I think personally that, finding out what are the books being read by the people that are in the room already, is probably a good way, to either get into the mindset or to get you on your own, into that particular journey. Where I want us to land this conversation is just around some of the big picture issues. South Africa finds itself in an interesting space. 2024 is an election year. Unemployment is a big issue. Youth unemployment is an even bigger, thing, just from a proportion point of view. What is your wish? I think that's what I'm going to call it. What is your wish for South Africa, going forward?
Who?
Either as a business person or as a young person, you can choose one of the two. Yeah.
I think bringing ownership back into the people's hands. That's something that we've lost, is that we've got a lot of people in power who want, to reap all the benefits, and it doesn't benefit the community, right? I say this from an aspect where I come from Soweto, not a lot of people make it, and of those who make it, you end up, finding yourself, in a space where you don't really have ownership. You don't have the right to do what you would like to do, On the youth unemployment, I would definitely say that my wish is for more opportunities to come out of Africa, not just South Africa, Africa currently right now, a lot of businesses across the world are moving into Africa. This is because Africa has the youngest population.
Yeah.
The average age all across Africa is 19 years old.
Yeah.
If we allow ourselves to create opportunities for young Africans to excel, not only is an individual going to excel on their own, but it's going to benefit the economy, because the more young people have jobs, the more young people, find themselves established across different industries, it allows us to move like countries like Dubai, the UAE, here in Africa or in South Africa, when you look at the way that they plan out, they plan out how things are going to happen, is that you've got a 50-year plan. You fly to the Middle East and you ask them, so when do you want to get this ready by? They say 5 years. But here in South Africa, we've got plans that are spanning over 50 years. The people in power don't even have that many years left. So I feel like having the youth come in and essentially giving ownership to the youth and giving opportunities to the youth, it then allows us to essentially build a better economy, not just for South Africa, but for Africa as a whole.
Okay, cool. And I know that I had said it was the last one, but I realized that there's just one little thing I forgot to ask at the beginning. And, we can just quickly close out with this in the last minute or two. Crypto and this area that you're in doesn't always carry the best reputation, right? How do you navigate, that particular space?
I think that's a very good question, I have to say, because, when you are in the space of investments, or decentralization, a lot of people are going to think you're trying to scam them, right? One thing that we've allowed ourselves to do is that we've decided to not only just focus on the crypto aspect of it being a risky business, but look at it as building trust with transparency by using blockchain technology. So one thing that we have done within our company is that with our portfolio management tool, it allows you as an individual to tap in and see prior investments to the investment that you're making, to look at all the transactions that have happened within the space. So that's how we've decided to navigate the whole, crypto space, by actually using the technology to build trust for the community. Was essentially the biggest thing, or the biggest thing that has helped us, move forward and grow such a huge community.
All right. So that's where we end off for today. It has been a really great one. Just talking to Percy about his journey in entrepreneurship. I think we started off at the top talking about, all the big words in that financial technology space. Decentralized finance, tokenization, blockchain, cryptocurrency, and your wish to actually help to democratize investments, using this particular technology. I guess the genesis, with your own mother's, journey, along the way, those pain points, and how you were able to, use some of that into what you have now. Also interesting to hear how you used your contracting experience from the supply chain days into, parts of what you're doing now with the smart contracts, as well. And also, the building out of a team. A lot of entrepreneurs find it hard to build teams because they want to do everything themselves.
Yeah.
But that ability to bring investment managers and people that can do other things, it's always great because you go further, with a team than you go by yourself. And also, I think just the last thing, on my side that, really stands out is the fact that, you're a young person, right? And I think that's very commendable, the fact that, you've taken the leap. A lot of people wait until a bit later on in life to take some of these leaps. So, big shout out to you.
Thank you.
So that's where we end off. We have been in conversation with Percy, and we'll see you next time on the next edition of Your Two Cents.